Hello, hello, Alicia Butler Pierre. Welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast, run by
Thank
women.
you. Thank
Uh,
you, Yola. I'm so excited to be here.
you're welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And there we are. We are here today, streaming straight on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So let's make this happen.
Let's do
How
it.
The first question I normally do to my guest is, where are you talking from? Because I think it's amazing.
I yes, I am in Atlanta, Georgia, which is in the southeastern part of the United States.
Fantastic. Wow. Yes. And I'm in London, United Kingdom.
Yes, I know. I know. I've been before. I've been there.
Oh, fantastic. So you've been here a long time ago? Like,
It
was
was a long time ago, Yola. It was back in 2000, the year 2000. It's been a
oh,
long time. So I'm
20.
I'm long overdue for another visit.
Yes. But now with the COVID, let's see when it's gonna
I
happen, right?
know. I know.
We keep going on this journey about COVID.
I know. It's crazy.
Let's see, let's see. But yes, but the reason we are here is not about COVID, right?
Right.
It's to share your story, your journey, and inspire people. Awesome. So, Alicia, in 3 words, how would you describe yourself? Just
I
3 words.
came prepared for this question because I listened to Entrepreneur Talks. So I knew to come prepared with my answer, Yola. I if I had to boil it down to 3 words, I would say one, giving, two, resourceful, and three, funny. I like to Life is serious, but we don't, we can always usually find the humor in so many things, and I think that's added and contributed to my
Totally.
success. Yes, and just longevity because I know right before you started recording, we were talking about, we figured out we're both born in the same year, and so turning 45, I'm just so grateful because there's so many of my friends who haven't made it to 45.
That's
And
so true.
so I try to think, I take what I do very seriously, don't get me wrong, but I still know how to be lighthearted and laugh and have a good time.
I love it. I love it. I was about to say that, yes. Don't get me wrong, but I also love the fact that to be funny, to laugh, but I do take my business or my job, my work serious. And but it's good. It is how I say, it makes people feel comfortable with us, I think. But is this the way I am? I don't fake it. I'm just I just love to laugh. And it's just good. It's good for ourselves, for our mind, and for our soul. Everything gets connected in a good way. But thank you
Yes.
for sharing these 3 things about yourself in 3 words about yourself. And I love it. So tell me now, what is your business? What is a business infrastructure, or how did you, no, let's start, let me change the question is, what do you do? Because otherwise I'm going straight to the question I asked the first you, but without telling people who is Alicia,
Sure.
what she does.
Sure. Well, thank you for that question. What I do, I create what I call business infrastructure for fast growing small businesses. And that
Mm,
business infrastructure helps them grow and scale with less pain and less chaos. Because as your company starts to grow, you go from not having enough customers, Yola, to having maybe too many. And that's when things really start to become chaotic. You realize you need to hire more people. You need to have better processes. They need to be documented. You may even need to upgrade your technologies and different types of equipment that you're using. That's where the chaos comes in. And I like
yeah.
to go in and create that business infrastructure, which is really setting a foundation so that the growth can not only be supported, but it can be sustained for an extended period of time and replicated.
Right. But and when you come in, you need to you might have a bunch of people with on your team, right? Because if the company grows, you also have it, you got a team that works with you to support them. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's such a great question. I don't think anyone has ever asked me that question, but that's such a great point. And I'm glad you asked that because it leads me to something that I never really get a chance to talk about, and that is the way I work with clients, Yola. I don't like to create dependency. I
Hmm.
like to do the I we can come in there and do some of the initial work for you, but ultimately our goal is to empower the companies and the small businesses that we're working with the knowledge, the tools, and the resources that
Right.
they will need so that they can build those capabilities and that knowledge internally and not have to always rely on us.
On
And
you
then
on.
if
Mhm.
mhm,
That's really good. That's really good approach, and the way you start the building up as well their confidence. A lot of things comes together with this your approach. Like you coming in, but you bring so many tools and some of. Can you say like a couple of tools that you use? Because I'm sure that if they are connected, not just with how I say the practical part of the business, but also with the emotional, the even the owners and the team that works inside. They need to have a certain type. This is me thinking. I don't know. Maybe it's not that way, but maybe they need to work because I think I believe like every single person and every single business needs to have certain types of structure that starts from us, from here, and then you will be able to do certain things. So,
I completely agree with you. And you're right. It starts with that mindset because
yeah,
when we're talking about working with founders and CEOs, I know you have co-founders over at Women Flix. When you think about it, Yola, we are big picture thinkers. We're thinking at a very high level where we tend to think very strategically. And business infrastructure is asking you, hey Yola, can you come down from being in the clouds there and come back down to earth and get into all of these details? And for many CEOs and founders, those again, those very big picture visionary thinkers, it's painful to think through all of those details. And so one of the tools I've learned over time, especially after working with so many different people who've started their own businesses, the one thing I noticed about so many of us is that we are all very pressed for time. We're all very busy. Our minds are constantly racing. And I had to figure out clever and creative ways, Yola, of getting information that we needed from these different CEOs and founders in a very quick way. So I'm glad you asked about tools because don't laugh,
good.
don't laugh, but
Sorry about
one,
my dog who's barking. So sorry, guys.
oh, no problem. I'm glad you asked about
I
tools
love it.
because yes,
I love
we use very high tech tools, obviously certain digital technologies, but this I'm holding up right now for those who are unable to see Yola and I right now. I'm actually holding up a stick figure and it has a laminated surface. And this is just one of the low tech or analog tools that we use, Yola, to help people quickly figure out in a perfect world, if you had access to all of the people that you needed on your team, who ideally should perform certain work.
it. Uh-huh.
So what happens is we have, here's another one of our tools. We use these index cards. And so if you can imagine, you have all of these different index cards, Yola, and
Right.
on each index card is a different task or activity that is performed in your company, no matter how simple or how complex. And what ends up happening by the time we go through this very rigorous brainstorming exercise to figure out everything that has to be done at your company, if we were to spread all of those index
Wow.
cards out across the table, I mean, you could easily have 300 or more index cards. And so we
Oh,
start to
yes.
move. Mhm. We start to move things around on the table, and then we start to say, well, you know what, for this task, for example, here I'm holding up an index card and it just has the letter A and the number 2. And we
Right.
might say, well, you know, the CEO is the person who ideally should be performing that task, not the person who's currently doing it. Because just because you're doing something right now doesn't mean that you are the person who should be doing that work.
That's right. Yeah.
And so that's just an example of just a very small example of
Yes.
some tools that we use to work with our clients.
Very good. Thank you so much. So, wow. And I did ask, and you were prepared. I love it. Makes total sense because, like you just said, like sometimes we're doing something that was not like, I'm talking about myself. Example. Sometimes I'm doing something that is not necessarily I should be doing, but someone else have capabilities to do it, and I'm not giving this duty or job to this person, and I'm putting myself on too much.
Yes,
When you come in and you say, what about if this person would be doing this? And y'all actually you reduce, but you're doing something that will increase, like focused on your specialities or your
absolutely.
your business, like coaching or doing more of the courses, something.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
it.
It's helping you. It's a very visual way for you to quickly figure out what work you can easily delegate to other people.
Mhm. Good. And I'm curious, I can't see your now another subject out of this what we've been talking about, but what is written on your wall?
So
Is
this is Equilibria. So that's the name of my company.
okay, because I from where I am right now, I only can see Equilibria.
Yes. So you can't see the E.
Yeah. And I was like, maybe
What is
something.
that?
Okay, Equilibria. Wow, it's like equilibrate, like Equilibria. It remembers me Portuguese because I'm Portuguese.
Yes.
Means like balance.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. So equal. So in English, we say equilibrium, and
Mm,
equilibria is the plural form of equilibrium. But
mm,
you're right. It's all, you know, in so many of these Latin-based languages, it basically all means balance. And that's the whole point, is to restore balance back to your business.
fantastic. Thank you, Alicia. And who is your client?
Great question. So we love working with fast growing small companies. These are companies that again have an issue with too much business, their customer demand, they're having trouble meeting that customer demand.
Okay.
And the reason why we target those types of companies, Yola, is because it's not difficult to sell those types of companies on why business infrastructure is so important. But just imagine if I tried to go and talk to a company that is just starting, a startup.
Right.
They're not concerned about their operations and their business infrastructure. They're concerned about marketing and branding
That's
and
right.
getting publicity. They're not concerned about processes and systems, and again, all those nitty gritty back office details. But
That's
once they've worked with, for example, I know you do a lot of branding work with your coaching clients. So let's say, Yola, you have a company that comes to you, you help them with their branding and their publicity, their media coverage, and now they have a different type of problem. Now they have so much traffic coming to their website, or so many people coming into their stores, that they
right.
realize, oh my goodness, we need to put a better structure operationally in place. And that's where we like to come in and work with a
Ah,
client.
right. Okay, got it. So while you were talking, I was thinking about my clients. I said, "Oh, okay," because sometimes I feel like I think they are in trouble. They can't handle things, and I'm like, "How I'm gonna do?" Because it's not my job in arrange your own company. My job is to give you this kind of marketing website development.
Right.
So I don't really know. I know, but it's not my thing. If I make sense.
Right. And same for me. There are companies that can, if they were to come to me and they want to spend so much time focusing on the operational things, that business infrastructure, but they don't have a lot of business coming in, I would tell them, you really should work with Yola because
Right.
you need to focus on getting business first. Otherwise, you will
That's right.
soon be out of business.
Yes, that's right. We have we already here building up a collaboration, very powerful, which I'm not gonna forget because I actually I'm serious, Alicia, but I'm gonna put you in touch with some of my clients.
Okay.
Which
I
is
welcome it.
it's the first time I have someone bringing the business infrastructure on this way, like creating this part or helping, supporting companies or startups. It's not startups because I thought now I understood that it's not someone that is starting because someone is starting might be is more is more for my side, and then after they are settled is for you because they settled but they are like, oh my god, how I'm gonna handle this,
Yes.
is to call Alicia. So guys, I hope you all understanding what we're talking here, and if you struggle, if you are on this stage that you need Alicia, get in touch. Because if you are behind, get in touch with me. That's right. So, and I was about to ask you. So you said business that are on, they are part of like to you work with business that are part of the startups. But what kind of again inside the clients are you specific with just for women or is everyone in general or every type of business as well?
Every type of business. And that's another really good question. Thank you for asking that, Yola. So I always say that what we do is industry agnostic. We just want to get the word out there about why this is so important. We
Right.
see these large companies, like you mentioned earlier, Facebook and YouTube, and it's easy to forget that these all started off as very small
Cool.
companies with just a few people who had an idea, and look at where they are now. But what we don't always have an appreciation for is, well, how did they get to this level? How did they become these huge, larger than life organizations? Well, I can guarantee you a lot of infrastructure went into or
Yeah.
goes into play. So I also do work with large corporations. And the reason I like to do that also, Yola, is because it kind of helps me keep abreast of all of the newer frameworks and technologies that the large companies are using. And I can then go back to my small business clients and say, well, this is what I've seen them do over at Coca-Cola.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we can do
Very
something
good.
similar for your business. You may not invest in the same type of technology, but it's to at least kind of get you into that mindset so that you understand what it will take to again not only scale but to do so in a way that's sustainable and profitable.
Yes, good, good, very good points. And Alicia, now while I was listening again, I was thinking, do you run any training like courses to learn how to do this, or you just work with clients and go to a company and you work, or do you teach people how to be good as you are? I'm just curious.
I so it's almost like you're reading my mind, Yola.
Oh, that's so
One
good.
of the things we are literally working on right now is building our very first course.
Ah,
But the first thing that I did, which was about 3 years ago, I wrote a book. And the whole point of that book, Yola, is to do exactly what you just said, teach others how to do this work. So the book is called Behind the Facade: How to Structure Company Operations for Sustainable Success. And when you look at this book, it truly tells you step by step how to, again, use
Wow.
these stick figures and these index cards, for example. So it's not a book that you will probably read in in
Mm,
1 week or
yeah.
less, but the idea is it's truly teaching you how to do these things for yourself. And so now that the book has been out for a few years, now we feel we have the confidence and the support and the interest to actually do a course and introduce this to entrepreneurs around the world.
Oh, that's really good. And I believe I have the link for this book available on the description
Okay.
of the. I think yes, you pass to me, and then it will be available on the description of the session.
Okay, great.
So anyone is on Amazon, correct?
Yes, it is.
That's wonderful. You see, it looks like we. Uh, maybe some people can think like maybe think right now like, oh, yeah, they know each other, or they spoke about this, but we didn't. We didn't. I
No,
didn't.
we're just vibing off of each other.
Yeah, and I love that. That's the power of 76.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
I love it. I just came up with this as well. Don't worry. This is good. This is good. So, and now you're gonna release. You know when you're gonna release the course?
So
Oh,
we are one of the things that we're going to test out, and I'd love your feedback on this. So I have a podcast as well, and
right.
the podcast is usually recorded in seasons. So what we're going to do is for the next upcoming season of the podcast, which would start in January of 2022, I'm actually going to read excerpts from the book,
Oh,
but then also explain how to do some of the exercises that are described in the book. So we're thinking we'll use the podcast as a test to see if people are interested, if there's certain topics that people seem to like more than others. And
right.
that's going to give us maybe some insights into which classes or which courses do we develop first to put online. The
Interesting.
goal, Yola, is to have something to present by next February, or at the latest next March, but hopefully by next February, we will have something that people can actually sign up for and start, start looking at the program online.
This is brilliant because Alicia, the way you talk, it totally connects with your work because you do what you just said to me right now in a couple of in a couple of words. This made me think, wow, your work must be amazing for the companies because you have some everything is programmed, everything is so.
Logical and sequential.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
woo. In some ways, I know I do work like that, but I wish I can talk about everything like you just spoke about it, your course. Because we right now we are um we're not creating courses. It's just to give you an example, but we are bringing a new. We're studying how we're gonna change, but we're gonna be doing some changes on our courses, but I don't know exactly when it's gonna be released. But from tomorrow, I'm gonna work with my other founders, my colleagues, and we need to find that date because it's important to have these things
Yes.
synchronized and everything like programmed and like yes set the date and then let's work. I love
Yes,
it.
and with because of everything that's happened with COVID, so many more of us are we're spending even more time in front of our computers, and so many people are noticing a renewed interest in their online courses. And I also teach some classes through some university, well, one university here in the United States, and that's Purdue University. So that's a lean. I'm not sure if your listeners are familiar with Lean Six Sigma, but it's a framework for reducing waste and minimizing errors in your company's processes. But they have noticed that the number of people who are signing up for this particular certification is unbelievable, Yola. And I really do believe it's because of everything that's happened as a result of COVID, especially with these supply chain disruptions. People, more and more people are having conversations about, well, what the heck is a supply chain? How does it impact my business? And what can I do to make sure that my company doesn't suffer as a result of things that are going on in its particular supply chain?
Yes, in the pandemic. Wow.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. And one more question, Alicia, or two, but this came just to my mind because from the beginning I never asked you how long you have your Equilibria is been in the market.
It has been 16 years.
Ah, wow,
Yes, a long time.
wow, that's
But
great.
you know what's interesting, Yola? It's only been, I would say, over the past 3 to 4 years is when it's really started to take off, because
Mhm.
I've been investing more in the types of things that you teach your clients about, which is the branding, the importance of using social media, really putting yourself out there, which is difficult for a person like me because I prefer to be in the background. I don't want to be on, like, me being on camera right now is, 3 years ago, I would have said, Yola, no, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity, but I don't want to be on camera. So it's
Amazing.
forced me to really get out of my shell and put myself out there, which is very scary. But I tell my clients this: you can be the smartest person in the room, you can have the best product or service in the world, but if nobody knows it, if no one's ever seen you, then you won't have a business.
That's so true.
So
That's so
yeah.
true. Now is that that is what I teach now as well. But I do understand and I agree with you. Fantastic, Alicia. So thank you so much for your
Thank
presence.
you.
And now I'm gonna go for my last question, which is how can people connect with you, where they can find you on social media, there we are, and website and so on.
On social media, I am most active on LinkedIn and Twitter. So if you look for me, Alicia Butler Pierre, that's well, Yola will have the links, I'm sure, in
That's
the
right.
description. But also, if you just want to learn more about me, figure out a way to connect with me, I would recommend going to my personal website, which is aliciabutlerpierre.com. And when you go there, it's like a hub for everything else that I have going on. So if you want to learn more about the book, you can find out information there, the podcast, my consulting company, as well as links to all of my social media profiles.
Okay, great. Thank you, Alicia. And by the way, I didn't ask as well. I always have extra questions. I don't know. It's me. Do you have a consultation? You do a consultation, an initial consultation. It is a charge, it's not charge. How that works? Is on available on your website as well if people can wants to get in touch and get a consultation call initial.
Sure. So I do offer a complimentary 15-minute, what I call a discovery call,
Right.
and you can definitely go. And I know Yola, you'll have links to all of that. So that's definitely one way to do it. But I would really recommend. I have so many articles, blog posts, YouTube videos, podcast episodes, as well as the book. So there's a lot of information out there that I've put out, but
Right.
please feel free to reach out to me if you want to have a one-on-one conversation. I would welcome that.
Ah, fabulous, fabulous. Thank you so much. And I wish you all the best. I'm sure we're gonna keep in touch. And well,
Absolutely.
superb to have you here and learn about infrastructure, because business infrastructure. Because now I have more clue about this, and I'm sure everyone that is watching and it will watch because this is going to stay there. So have the opportunity to either get in touch with you or learn through your content available on your pages or website or your book as well. I'm going to make sure this is all available on the description of the podcast. God bless you, Alicia, and you
Oh,
take
thank
care.
you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Yola.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.